this is the application. Thanks, LSD. We have heard so much. Now I was wondering, do I have something to add? Strictly speaking, nothing. But since I'm here, all the way from Delhi, I must say something. Yeah. So I respect their obligation. A small suggestion, since you have media, I think it will be useful to say that this conversation is under the Chatham House rules, which means while you can use the knowledge shared, but cannot cope to where this has come from. Because a lot of things are very sensitive, we spoke. Yes, normally we won't discuss those things in open platforms. We are talking about Sagar and Mahasagar. I thought, let me take you back to when we were contemplating Sagar. Yes, and I was sitting in Mauritius, the headquarters of IOCA, Indian Ocean Regional Association, and we were trying to find two versions which would be easy. First, why we were talking about this? You know, if I go back in history, India was a maritime power, not only for purpose of maritime security, but largely for purpose of trade. Thanks to monsoon, somebody mentioned about monsoons. Monsoon was the engine of navigation before we realized the engine. Yes, it was extremely predictable current. It will bring you northwards in a very predictable manner. Will take you southwards in a very predictable manner. And there are references in the history that because of that, India had trade linkages, both with the east and with the west, using the monsoon currents for navigation. In fact, I got your state, Bali Yatra. Yes, there's a reference to Bali Yatra during Kalinga time. Indian traders will load their vessels using the monsoon to Southeast Asia. Stay there, trade there, and then with the monsoon current again come back, and the date was fixed. Can you imagine the families left behind will go to the coast thinking that either they are coming today or they are coming tomorrow. And in such a predictable manner, they will come back. And then they will celebrate their return. And with this, it was not only goods and services which were traveling, the culture was traveling, the languages were traveling, mutual awareness was traveling, trust was traveling. And then, of course, also the African coast. We have a long history of relationship. I won't go into details of history that we had, in fact, some rulers in India who were of African origin. Yes? So those are separate issues we can discuss some other day. But this relationship, and which was the largest entity in the Indian Ocean, it was India. And as they mentioned, there's only one ocean in the world which is named after our country. It is the Indian Ocean. So we were made sea blind by the colonial powers. As a result, we forgot that we are basically an ocean going, northwestern frontiers. But we were an ocean going. We are a sea-farer country, and we have to wake up from that sleep where we were. Of course, we are also made land blind over a period. But it's the blindness and the presence of the extra territorial powers in the Indian Ocean. And of course, there was a risk. Can we leave this water body completely out of our own awareness? One way is that we could be, for developing naval force, we go everywhere and say, okay, we are here. So we control this water. No, we are not that. We don't have overwhelming naval force, which could go and claim the water body. हम कंट्रोल करेंगे इसको, like the Americans have done all over the world. Right? What is the other way of doing it? Find out what exactly Indian Ocean means to us. Now, given that is, given the future, as again in one of the presentations was mentioned, where is the future activity, global activity? Is it in Europe? Is it in the Americas? No. Where is the future activity, global activity? It's in this region. Africa is going to be the largest youth power for demography anywhere in the world. So is Southeast Asia. So is India. The markets will be here. The youth will be here. The innovation will be here. The technology will be here. The productivity will be here. So there will also be the risk. Because the security's main function is to protect your prosperity, your peace. And when you have assets, when you have wealth, when you have prosperity, so is the threat. If there is no prosperity, there is no threat. Nobody will bother. Now, how to manage it? This we realized immediately after independence, because even before independence, we understood that sooner or later, India will have to play a major global role. How do we do it? We are not a superpower. We are not a major economic power. Go back in that time. How to do it? We had a capital which is called the goodwill. Even before our independence, we started working with the countries of the region on their decolonization. Can you imagine, for example, Mahatma Gandhi goes to jail in South Africa, yes, fighting for justice for people there. Then, after independence, the way India for decolonization, both in Southeast Asia and Africa. So we have that goodwill. Now the question was, what to tell these people? Then we say, this is our vision for India. Now, there are so many countries there. When you're seeking partnership, you must go to the partner and ask what exactly the partner needs. Otherwise, you will not be able to respond to those needs. And we are a blue water navy and we will come and protect you. Come on, for God's sake. If I tell you, madam, I will protect you, would you agree? You will say, who the hell are you to protect me? Do you think I can't protect myself? Translate that argument to the nation state. Can you put one nation and say, I protect you? Even though you may protect them. But still, they will tell you, don't say that. I don't need anybody's protection. I'm sovereign. I defend myself to the last drop of my blood. Isn't it? That's why what we say. You how could we go and tell our colleagues in Indian Ocean region that I'm making protection? The argument will not stand. But if we tell them that let's work together for our combined shared prosperity, will they agree? Because the large number of people, the demography of the region, they still want good life. They were seeking prosperity. They were not seeking naval hardware. They were seeking prosperity. And the argument was that, all right, prosperity needs economic activity or economic growth. And economic activity and economic growth essentially need what? Peace and stability. Yes? You need peace, stability, and predictability. You see, this whole push कैसे तो समझाया कैसे जा रहा है? लेकिन वो आर्ग्यूमेंट है ना सबका था सबका विकास इसको रीजनल लेवल पे ले जाइए और पानी में उतार दीजिए इतना ही तो करना है आर्ग्यूमेंट तो वही सबका था सबका विकास रीजन पे एक्सपेंड करके उसको पानी में लेकर जाए security and growth for all in the region. This becomes saga. Right? Security and growth for all. What will be offering? Growth, the primary objective, prosperity. For that, there will be enabling environment. And here in the security, we knew that has two major pillars. The so-called hard security, which is armed conflicts, piracy, human trafficking, drug trafficking, terrorism, all that stuff. And then the soft security. What is the soft security? Soft security is, as my colleague was talking, soft security was the growth can be unsustainable or sustainable. Now, what do you mean? You want unsustainable growth? I'm sure even those who are doing unsustainable growth will agree with you that they don't need unsustainable growth. Yes, it means sustainability. The threat of environmental degradation, which is also a very major threat, which is a security issue. My friend mentioned about blue economy. When we look at the ocean, you can see food security there. You can see energy security there. You can see the supply chain security there. You can see the mineral security there. You can see the medicinal healthcare security there. Name it, I have a long list if you want. These are the tangible benefits, which you can see, you can touch. But then if I go to the intangible of the ocean, you were struggling to find how much oxygen. 50% of the oxygen in the world comes from the oceans. 50%. Which means if we take 22 times we breathe in a minute, 11 times you have to be thankful to the ocean. Yes? 11 times 50% of the oxygen. And we hear every now and then climate change as an existential threat to humanity. If something is an existential threat, is what security means, isn't it? We can't be fighting a small border war and then accept the existential threat. If it's an existential threat, it is a major security threat. And when we say why global warming, we say greenhouse gas. The most common, carbon dioxide. We want to reduce, we want to recapture, we want to do all kinds of things, and we have billions of dollars in mind for this. Yes? But ocean alone absorbs 1/3 of the carbon dioxide produced by mankind or human activity. 1/3. 33% of the carbon dioxide is absorbed by the ocean. Automobile industry, what is their contribution to the carbon emission? If I remember correctly, about 8%. And how much the world is struggling to manage that 8%? What is the total carbon emissions, for example, of the housing sector? Again, about 6 to 8%. How much we are struggling to control it? What is the carbon emission of the power sector? Must be about 11 to 12%. Ocean alone takes away 33%. We take it for granted. We don't even think. And then, of course, the water cycle. We talk about monsoons. If the is not controlled, if it crosses a certain limit, then you have what's called the feedback loops. These are tipping points. If you cross the tipping point, then you can do whatever you want to do. You will not be able to recover the lost ground. Isn't it a security risk? It's a major security risk. So we told our partners, other security and growth are all, and in security part, these are surveillance for partner countries. We are giving them hardware, we're giving them training, we are servicing their hardware, and all things are being done. We have the exchange of naval, exchange programs. Why we do this? Basically, our idea is the more you meet your partner, talk to them, the greater is the confidence and trust that you create. Because when I take my ship to Mauritius, and I tell them, come and see my ship. see anything that you want to see of this year. Yes, then it develops trust. Because we see the minute you say something in trust we fight, the trust is lost. If you're hiding something from me, and others know the trust is lost. More you meet, more you talk, more you let the other person see you, you develop trust. And that takes me to our development partnership administration. Development partnership administration is an old program. It started in the mid-60s. What is that we're telling the partners in the developing world? We said, look, we are also a poor country, right? We are also recently a decolonized country. Our capacities are limited. But still, like you have some capacity, we also have some capacity. You can come, look at what capacities we have, and if you think any of those capacities is of use to you, we'll share it with you. That was the approach to developing that goodwill. They are giving you a blank promise. You want me to put on here. You want me to educational institutions, we allow you to come. You want to come to India for healthcare, we'll do it. You want us to give a demonstration project in your country, we'll do it. Then we create a vertically integrated development advocacy program. Right? If you will create a human resource, once the human resource is created, then what? That human resource will have to do something. And for that, they need money, resources, which they don't have. We should all right, go money. You need resources which we have, we give you, which will give you grants, we'll give you lines of credit, we'll give you technical know-how. Now, all right, they have produced something. He said, I produce this, what do I do with it? Now I'm looking for a market. Okay, no problem. We gave non-reciprocal market access to all LDCs. Can you imagine this? A developing country doing this. We gave non-reciprocal market access to all LDCs, which means whatever you produce, if we need it, we take it free of charge, free of duty, no restrictions imposed. Now, that's the goodwill we were talking about. Because for us, the region is our extended security space. The best security you have is your potential opponent's goodwill. Yes? If you have a potential opponent, and if that opponent develops goodwill for you, that is the best security you have. You can apply any kind of other security measures, but the best is this. That is why, for example, you see now, because there's a lot of competition. You're not the only one there. You have the Chinese with their BRI. You have the old partners, North America, Europe, with their own resources. And here, for example, when you go to some countries, you know what they will say? They say, you may not have money, but we have trust in you. Because we trust in you because we know that you will not unnecessarily hurt us, even if you're not able to help us. So that is what we're looking at. Sorry. Yes. And then, now since it's a UDA thing, touch upon the UDA part. SAGAR is a geopolitical issue, isn't it? you're looking after your extended security space. Why UDA? Yes? You see, there is a very interesting book, not it's a report, and it says intelligent ocean. Yes? Intelligent ocean. When I listed the benefits of the ocean, now let's look at the threats to the ocean. Ocean can give us more than what we have given us in history. Countries, the answer is no. We have mistreated them. They have treated us as when as he says, oceans are asking, can I trust you? Oceans are asking humanity, can we trust you? So we have served you for millions of years. And now I am asking this question, can we trust you for not hurting us? The answer of the ocean is right now no. Why? Because of pollution. That's the pollution I would go to. Acidification, loss of biodiversity, and rising temperature. We thought it's a passive partner. Yeah, we thought oceans are a passive partner. But now we are understanding, because of the technology that we have now, we can peep into the ocean's heart and see ocean is not a passive partner. It is not a violent, but it's not passive. Global warming, as Anup mentioned, the single most important safeguard against global warming is the ocean health. If you protect the ocean health, that will provide us the best safeguard against global warming. Yes? Otherwise, all kinds of currents, you must have heard of the Amazon slowing down, These are dangerous things. We must learn to respect the ocean. Now, when we know that ocean is not a passive partner, it's an active partner, but a lot of patience. But when the patience breaks down, this partner will be very angry with us and has potential to cause us immense damage. When you have a partner, active or passive, you must understand your partner's language. Yes. Which till recently we have no means to understand language. The ocean's language is chemistry, physics, biodiversity, geology, and all this. So we're not able to understand language. How is the technology? We are gradually heading towards understanding our partner's language, which means when the partner has fever, partner will be able to tell us, today I'm running fever, don't pollute me. Yes. But don't overfish because the fish has run out of stock. Now you're fishing my kids. Yes. That is underwater domain awareness. If we don't understand the underwater, the ocean's role in geopolitics will diminish. And then it becomes a zone of conflict, not a zone of prosperity, not a source of prosperity, a source of conflict. Yes? I'm hearing I remember some years ago, we talked about the virtual twinning of oceans. Yeah, we have virtual twinning of a lot of industrial products. But creating a virtual twin of industrial products is much easier because those are static components. The engine will never run away from the engine room. Yeah? Or would not start reciting poetry rather than propelling. Yes? These are fixed things. Or even the atomic power station. We have a replica of atomic power station. Now we are gradually, step by step, we are getting closer to the digital replica of ocean. The challenge is ocean's behavior changes every minute. It's not a static thing. And keeping check on that every minute change is a hugely complicated task. Yes. And that is where I mentioned about the importance of modeling and simulation. Yes. We must develop these technologies and these capabilities. Otherwise, we get a sealed box from somebody else. He will say, use this box, but you can't open it, you can't repair it, you can't modify it. Right? So instead of buying those boxes from others, let's develop a new box. That is where a special emphasis of UDA is a must. When something becomes part of something long-term important, becomes part of something immediately important, automatically the long-term suffers. So I agree, it should be part of MDA, but not at the expense of UDA. Because UDA is long-term, because we keep firefighting all our life. We solve yesterday's problems. UDA is going to solve tomorrow's problem. Who is going to solve tomorrow's problem? Therefore, there's a requirement of a separate silo for underwater. Then integrated. Absolutely. It must serve the surface activity. Because in any case, whatever happens in the water, its consequences happen over what? The clouds are over water, not underwater. But it's the underwater chemistry which results in cloud making.